Hello, I'm indie author Lee Daniel Bullen, and I'm here to talk about my undiscovered classic, Double X. I designed that cover. You're welcome.
The book Blurb. Nick and Lucy forge an unlikely alliance after they discover their lust for dead ringers of lost loves and help each other meet eligible suitors on London's dating scene. Trouble looms when friends and siblings grow concerned at their obsession for chasing memories, and with problems mounted around their intensifying relationship, they soon find their journey takes a heart-stopping turn. Nick's best friend Conrad is nursing an aching heart of his own, but befriends beleaguered celebrity Corsica Coleman, following a fateful encounter that would shape their very future. Together, they launch a series of high-profile events that will halt plans to develop an area of London Heathland, derail a tyrannical tycoon, and alter everyone's lives beyond imagination. Double X, a righteous comedy about love, obsession, and friendship. Lee Daniel Bullen. Who's that stunner? Woof woof. Is the best-selling author of Beset, Double X, and numerous comedies and novelettes. He previously worked as an illustrator, it's true, and screenwriter, but now solely devotes his time to crafting natty novels. His personal interests include squirrel romancing, ferret fondling, and stringing the guitar. His more intelligible writings are available in paperback and ebook at Amazon. Chapter 1. Hit and Run. Cut the flesh and it heals, but injure the heart and the wound lasts a lifetime. Yes, I start with a thought-provoking quote, but the book starts up proper with a sex scene. Be warned. That's it, she growled in his ear. The line put him off. He was used to his ex-girlfriend yelling Italian in the heat of the moment. He lost fire and decided to change position. The girl reminded him of his ex from behind, with her hair spread like a concertinaed fan. Concertina, great word, look it up. And her face buried deep in the pillow. Like it was his beloved Sophia that he was making love to, and not this lookalike he'd picked up earlier in the night. Yes, the lead character come across as shallow, but just wait until all the layers are peeled away to reveal a depth to this book that you could never imagine. He arranged her flowing hair and turned to the glow of lamplight, illuminating a patch of the bed. Perfect! The right light and the right shadow. He looked down and smiled. Sophia. Soon he'd be holding the girl tenderly in his arms, the moment he got his fix. When Nick sneaked out of the apartment at 3 a.m, reality bit and short-term pleasure was blitzed by remorse. Since Sophia left him 6 months previously, he discovered that lookalikes transported him to a brief alternate reality, and the ritual had become an unhealthy habit. Initially, it happened by chance, his eyes lighting up at anyone who slightly resembled Sophia, sometimes hoping he'd inadvertently bumped into her, but as time passed, he slowly developed a dependency to the artificial feelings and could not let go. As his long frame lumbered along the dark back streets of this unfamiliar corner of West London, some way from his home in Camden, the strands of his fair hair sashayed like sidewinders in the summer breeze. What an author, brilliantly descriptive. He flagged a black cab and prepared himself for the interrogation to come, not from an angry partner or concerned parent, but disapproving roommate and closest friend Conrad, or Conradical as he was monikered due to his environmental activism and anti-establishment leanings. Which was a fate far worse than a scorned girlfriend waiting up to hurl kitchenware at him. Nicholas Green, you're worse than Pol Pot, screamed Conrad, like a berating mother, more ratty than genuinely aggrieved, after waking abruptly on the sofa. Abusing women for your own selfish gain. Do they know you're only with them because they look a bit like the Italian witch? Pol Pot, really? Nick replied sarcastically, tossing his keys on a cluttered living room table. She seems like a nice girl. Did you bother to find out? Can't, not now. I think now's the perfect time, actually, he said, sternly, as Nick rolled his eyes and removed his jacket, idly tossing it in the corner of the room. Answer me this, what's her name? Who? Nick replied impatiently. The girl you just took advantage of. I don't remember. Conrad nodded. And are you going to see her again? Nick simply glared at his roommate. Are you going to see any of them again? No, Con, I'm not, he said dismissively. And why not? You know why. Dude, I hate to do this. I don't know, it's been a long time since I last had to. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. But I have to administer a little Conrad corporal punishment. You waited up to do this. Conrad rose from the shabby sofa and brushed away the crumbs stuck to his tubby torso. He ran his fingers through his mousy hair and stood in front of Nick. Take it as a man. This is gonna hurt me more than you. He blew on his fingertips and rubbed them in preparation. Tweak and twist, learn from this. And he pinched Nick's nipples with as much force as humanly possible. Tears welled in Nick's eyes as he yelped and dropped to one knee. I did that because you need to wake up. This isn't about the girls or because you ditched me at a club in the middle of the night again. This is for your own mental health. Turn, Paige, turn. Bloody hell, mate, Nick painfully protested. You've been moping around this flat for months. You're not working and you're not getting on with your life. He struggled to his feet, slightly overcome by this particular late night chat with his best friend. Con, it's okay, I'm alright, he argued dimly. No, you really aren't, and I can't watch you self-destruct anymore. He scooped up his duvet from the sofa and shook off the crumbs. If you don't sort yourself out, I'm going to move out. And he went to his room, leaving Nick smarting from a more than impressive dressing down. He flopped on a sofa. Bite-sized debris bounced up and settled back into the crevices. He grabbed the tortilla chips and began to snack, but within minutes was sprawled across the seats, dreaming of Sophia. Several streets away, Lucy Colston, that's our female protagonist, was entering her sister's elegant apartment in Camden Square with a besooted mystery man. In the hall, she turned to him, swept his dark hair back, and meticulously parted it to one side. So your girlfriend's out of town, she asked seductively. The man nodded. Then you'd better stay the night. He smiled excitedly and removed his glasses. No, leave them on, Lucy said with a wink, and took his hand and led her into her bedroom. In the next room, her older sister was awake in bed, 1,000 concerned thoughts swimming around her mind. Nick awoke to the sound of a large tea mug slamming on the living room table. He sat up and a packet of tortilla chips slid off his chest and distributed its contents down the back of the sofa. Thanks, Con, he croaked, rubbing his eyes as Conrad busied around the apartment, preparing to leave. Where are you off to? Oh, I just thought I'd torture myself by driving past my ex-girlfriend's to see if she's home and if the black Mercedes is parked outside again, he answered sarcastically. Nick slumped into the sofa. Then I'll probably have a drink in the pub round the corner, hoping to bump into her, and if I don't, I'll just keep drinking till I spot someone who looks a bit like her, then try to shag her. Sod off, I'm not doing that today, he groaned from underneath a cushion. Conrad whipped it away. And don't even think about calling me from a club later when you're drunk and want company. Nick sat upright. All right. He took a gulp of tea, wincing as it burned his tongue. It was still enormously gratifying though. His mouth was as dry as the snacks layer in the back of the settee, and his body felt the onset of a nasty hangover. So where are you going? He asked, delicately placing the mug on the table. I'm looking at flats, Conrad replied with a sly grin. You're serious? It's a bit drastic, mate. Let's go out for a pub lunch and talk about it. Conrad shook his head and left the apartment, leaving Nick to lick his alcohol-induced wounds alone. Lucy sipped her tea, and her sister silently prepared toast with a coating of savoury brown sauce. I still don't know how you can eat it with that, Amanda said gruffly, and popped more bread into the toaster. Will your guests want some? She asked pointedly. Lucy looked at her sister and shrugged. So who is this one? Can we do this later? Lucy asked. Amanda turned and refilled the kettle, nostrils flaring. She tried to resist lecturing her younger sibling, but quickly succumbed to the burning need. You know I'm always here for you and will always support you, but this habit of yours, Amanda, please. When are you going to accept that he's gone and turn the page? She asked sympathetically. Lucy looked to the ceiling for help. Amanda stepped closer and affectionately brushed Lucy's auburn hair from her eyes. Babe, it's not normal. And I suppose your friend is the dead ringer for him? Lucy knew the question was rhetorical. She sighed and embraced her sister, pressing her busty chest into Amanda's abdomen, who responded by planting a kiss on her forehead. It was 7 months yesterday. I know, babe. Lucy took a bite of toast and gave a non-committal look. Amanda knew better than to press further. She turned and started to clear things away. Any plans today? When he wakes up, I'll see what he wants to do. You're going to spend more time with him? I hope so. Do you think that's a good idea? Yes, I'm sorry, but I do. Right now, I really need to pretend a little bit longer. Nick entered a pub near Sophia's house feeling worse for wear, but looking as serene as ever. He had a natural ability to glide into a room. His height, features and confident air caught people's attention without being pretty or brash. He sat at the bar and scanned the surroundings. The pub was empty, but it was still early Saturday afternoon. She might pop in for a late lunch or early dinner, and he planned to hang around in case she did. He ordered a pint, hair of the dog for the progressive hangover wreaking havoc on his insides. He'd showered, scanned Sophia's social media pages for movements, and driven past her home. No updates, no recent sightings, no mysterious black Mercedes parked outside. Not knowing about her troubled him greatly. Imagining what she was doing was always more torturous than the truth. He cringed as he sipped his bitter drink and turned to the television, showing graphic-heavy football coverage. He pulled a cigarette from his pocket and went outside to light up. On the other side of the street, a dark, slender woman hurried home with shopping bags, and he gazed after her until she disappeared from view. Hair, long, black and wavy. Likeness match, 9 out of 10. Face, indeterminable from this range. Likeness match, not applicable. Height, 5'7", a couple of inches shorter than Sophia. Likeness match, 7 out of 10. Boobs, fuller than Sophia's perfect ski slopes. Likeness match, 8 out of 10. Arse, good protrusion. Likeness match, 8 out of 10. Legs, bit stubby. Likeness match, 7 out of 10. Scent, indeterminable from this range. Likeness match, not applicable. Overall, decent. Go talk to her. Yes, it's shallow, but just wait until the layers are stripped away. He sighed to himself. From that distance, the woman looked a lot like Sophia. He was so lost in red-blooded nostalgic thought that he nearly failed to notice a black Mercedes park outside the pub and a couple get out. He suddenly recognised the license plate. It was the Mercedes. He turned, hoping to see Sophia, even though it would only confirm his worst fears. But the girl was a petite redhead. Auburn hair, remember? His heart sank. Maybe he should have been pleased, but subconsciously, all he wanted was to see her again. He exchanged a look with a man as the couple approached a pub. Arrogant snob, he thought, simply because he wore glasses over a self-important expression and had a fancy suit on. If he's with the redhead, he's obviously not seeing Sophia, so there must be another reason why his car's always outside, he concluded. Feeling slightly relieved, he tossed his cigarette and went inside the pub. The girl was affectionate with the man as they stood at the bar, stroking his back as he bantered with the barman. Nick smiled to himself as he sat on a stool next to them to force down his waiting beer. The girl planted a tender kiss on the man's cheek and made her way to the toilets as he took a sip from his drink and looked sideways at Nick. He put his drink on the bar, paused, and winked at the bartender. "You're Nick Green, aren't you?" he asked confidently. Nick was taken aback. "Yes." "You're an artist, right?" "Yes," he replied curiously. "And how's that going?" "I mainly do graphic design now," he said honestly. "Steadier money." "I suppose so, especially if one's not very good." Nick prickled at the comment, but decided it was probably offhand. He even faked a snort and politely added, "Yeah. A mutual friend told me all about you." "Josh owns a big art gallery in Soho," added the bartender, drying a glass. "I understand you're struggling for work at the moment," Josh asked, smirking at the barman. Nick was unsure how to take the direct questioning. "Things are a bit quiet, but I'll pick up soon," he said non-committally. "Still, nice to see you have the pennies to treat yourself to a nice pint," Josh said. The barman scoffed as he wiped around the inside of a wine glass. Nick sensed he was the subject of an in-joke and decided to ignore them. After uncomfortable silence, Josh spoke again. "Didn't you go out with that lovely Italian girl, Sophia, for a few years?" Nick shuffled uncomfortably on his stool and looked Josh in the eyes. "Yes." "They say you were awfully cut up about it." Nick ignored him, and Josh winked at the barman, grinning as he started drying plates. Josh put his drink to his lips and uttered under his breath, "At least she's getting it from a real man now." And he took a sip as the barman childishly snickered. Time seemed to freeze as the words whirled around Nick's mind, trying to register. Did he really just say that? Could I have misheard? But there was no time for reasoning. Red mist flooded his brain and choked any benefit of the doubt. He sprang from the stool and punched Josh's face, shattering his glasses and sending him crashing to the floor. The barman froze. As Nick turned to him, the look in his eyes and devastating dismissal of his friend filled him with apprehension. He knew trying to eject this particular patron was probably a bad idea. Fearful that Nick might attack, he launched a ceramic plate he was holding and ran to the back office. The plate spun through the air like a frisbee and hit Nick hard, thudding off his forehead and smashing on the floor. Nick stumbled back, dazed by the unexpected missile and sharp pain searing through his brain. The redhead appeared from the toilets and stopped short at the sight of Josh on the floor and Nick blankly looking at her. Blood suddenly gushed down his face and reality returned. He dabbed at the wound and tried to speak to the girl, offer an explanation, but no vocabulary existed to vindicate him from the scene in front of them. Instead, he turned and staggered out of the pub. The barman looked around the door and saw the girl rush into Josh, still motionless. He hurried over. I called for an ambulance and the police are on their way. Did the bloke leave? Yeah, what happened? He went berserk, hit Josh for no reason. You're joking. Don't worry, we know who he is. Josh began to groan. The girl crouched down beside him, reluctant to clean the glass from his blood-red face. Don't move, Christopher. Everything will be all right. Christopher? His name's Joshua, said the barman. Oh yeah, sorry. We only met last night. I'm Tony. Lucy, she replied, parting Josh's matted hair. Yes, Lucy, our protagonist, setting it up nicely for Chapter 2, Plates and Spin, Double X, by Lee Daniel Bullen. I'll pretend I didn't just drop the book. Extraordinary, undiscovered classic. Film producers, and I wrote this book with movie in mind, really. It's a fantastic romantic comedy, really is. Film producers and also literary agents, publishers. Where have you been sitting on your hands like this? It's outrageous. Join me next time for Chapter 2, Plates and Spin.